All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about why I decided to start a YouTube channel and, more importantly, a faceless YouTube channel. I thought, why not have a chat session with you? I hope you're well. I hope everything is good with you. And let's just chat about what it is I am doing here and why I think it is important. Stay tuned. My name is Gigi. This is Hear Me Out. It's just a thought. Okay, so let's get one thing out of the way. This is obviously a faceless YouTube channel. It's a podcast style. And I know most of the most recent podcasts, should I say, that are going viral are people that are filmed themselves talking into the microphone. And I don't do that. I'm not a secret, government agent. I am not hiding from anyone, although that second one might come in handy later on. But no, just joking. So I'm not hiding from anything or anyone, but I wanted to talk about why I started this specific channel and why it is that I chose to do it without showing my face. And spoiler alert, it's not necessarily because I am camera shy. Okay, maybe just a little bit, but not entirely. So first things first, if it is your first time here, welcome. I'm happy that you're here. My name is Gigi. I like to talk about anything critical thinking, faith, what's happening on the internet. I like to do a couple of series to help us think better, act better, be better. If that sounds like something you would like to explore, stay tuned, stick around, hit the subscribe button so we can do it together. So when I first started thinking about creating content, I wasn't necessarily interested in creating content per se, right? Nowadays, I feel like when people are talking about creating content, it's for the purpose of putting their faces out there, their lives, their homes, their relationships, their children, all of that. And sometimes it creates really nice channels and really positive channels and really nice things, right? And I have nothing against all of that. But in my mind, I wanted to really think about what kind of content do I wish existed. And the answer was, just honest, thought-provoking, faith-based conversations that were not too serious, that were not too preachy. I didn't want to come here and pretend I was some kind of preacher, pretend I was some kind of teacher, pretend I was some kind of theologian or expert. I wanted to come on here and share some thoughts. And sometimes my, podcast episodes are very, very much faith-based, but other times it's just what's happening on the internet and what we can learn from it, from a regular girl, regular person like you, who's hardworking, who has a million ideas in her head and who just wants to share them. But my purpose of, in between all that was really to share some thoughts, hence the name. I wanted stuff that make you think, stuff that reminds you of truth in a world that feels like it's constantly gaslighting you. Stuff that talks about God, not in a preachy way, like I said, but in a real way, because it just seems like the conversations about God have disappeared, and the ones that are available are very vibesy. I'm not sure if that's a word. They're very vibesy. I just wanted to bring back what I thought would matter to me and hopefully to you listening on the other side of this. And I, of course, didn't just want to consume material. I felt this nudge to create it. And it's really, 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 really not because I have all of the answers. Of course, it's the exact opposite. It is because I love asking the right questions. I love thinking out loud, seeking for the answer. And because I do believe in a God who is not afraid of questions either. And I like to talk about God. I like to talk about my faith. I like to show how I got to the conclusion, but I I'm very much open to other people sharing also what they have found. And yeah, so that was the first element of my reflection there. And so I did start the channel with a few goals in mind. Okay. The first one being that I wanted to share my faith. Like I said, very simple, not just a nice, tidy, we're going to church on Sunday morning, we're reading verses and we're like nodding our heads type thing, but mostly the deep, everyday kind of wrestle with it faith, where you ask yourselves questions, where you would love to explain what you believe to other people and spread the gospel, but in a real way, in a here's what's happening today in 2025, and here's why God is real and why Christianity is true. And I wanted in that same in that same spirit to create a space for like apologetics, which is, the fancy word for here's why I believe what I believe. I do take 1 Peter 3:15 seriously, and this is the reason why I talk so much about what the world has to offer us, and in contrast what God has to offer us, and for us to make a choice, a wise choice, a non-forced choice. I believe God wins, but I thought, why not put a series out there just talking about everyday things we see in media, things we see in our everyday life, things that happen to us as parents and as wives and as husbands and as workers. There's so many more upcoming series that I want to talk about, but so apologetics of why I believe what I believe and how it matters in our everyday life. And so the series that I called God versus the World, it's sometimes it just feels like you're trying to follow God in a world, like I said, that's playing the exact opposite game. And to me, it just felt like I was trying to play chess in a room full of people that are playing some other type of game. And I know I'm not the only one. I know that some of us live in a world where we're like, we know God exists, we want to live by his rules and his principles and follow him because we know he's the truth. But all around us, we're kind of being told like, no, here's the fun part, here's the fun life you can live. That's old school, that's outdated, that's weird, that's funny. And we just find it hard to make that choice boldly. And so we need encouragement, and we need some reminders of actually it's pretty rational and smart and useful and really, really good to follow God. So that's why God versus the World came very naturally to me. It's a part of apologetics that I think is fun to just look at everyday life. But if I am about to keep it real with you, if I can keep it 100 with you, I really did hesitate. The internet loves a recognizable face. I'll say that. People connect with smiles and eyes and looks and awkward, hand gestures and things. Just people like seeing who's talking. And here I am, I'm not offering any of that. And I knew that faceless channels do not always get the same engagement, and there's like no face really to go viral. There's no face to recognize. There's no thumbnail with like these thumbnails that are very trendy now with like shocked expression on their face. There's no YouTuber hands that I've pointing at like a floating text or a floating video. And so I had to ask myself, what do I want? What is this really about? Am I trying to be popular? Or is it more like something else? Am I trying to be obedient to what I think is a purpose that I have and a gift that I have? And so that question settled it for me. It was not about being popular. It is about being obedient. And I do think that all of us need to be obedient, and all of us need to really look at what our gifts are. What is the purpose of our lives? What do we do easily? possibly that other people find hard to do? What do we have time for that we can put towards the kingdom, towards the benefit of other people and us, towards the bettering of our societies, and to counter culture what is being presented to us, which is not great, right? We need more voices, more and more and more voices that are speaking about good things, positive things, building and growing and maturing, and leaving aside the bad habits, picking up the good habits. We need more people to talk about their experiences growing out of what culture taught them, right? This culture we're living in. And I decided to just be one of those voices. There are so many more. I will make an episode at some point about my favorite YouTubers, face with face and without face. But yeah, I really just chose that to be obedient. And another reason, if I can confess something, editing videos is very, very exhausting, right? And I've done it before for other purposes. Do you know how many hours people spend just like color correcting their own shadows, making sure the lighting is good, making sure their outfit is on point, making sure the set is fine? Just everything video is like double the work, if not triple. And then you have to edit the actual video itself. I don't really edit the audio because it's easy to grab a mic, press play, and just keep going. And I want my podcast to be as authentic as possible. Like I mentioned numerous times, you will hear some background noise sometimes. You will hear my kids playing sometimes and screaming and yelling. You will hear me knocking stuff out because I'm on my desk and I have the bad habit of rotating my chair as I do the podcast, which I'm doing right now. And so sometimes I'll knock things over. I want it to feel like I'm talking in real time, which I am. I don't want it to feel too much curated. And so I also did not want it to look curated. I wanted to just sit and talk about what I talk about with my friends also, which is, hey, what's up on the internet? Hey, what did you see lately that was interesting to you? Hey, where are you with your faith? What have you read in the Bible lately that was interesting? What kind of preach have you heard that really stayed on your mind? And that's what I want to do on the internet. And so I wanted something sustainable, where I don't need perfect lighting or to worry about, does this angle make my face look weird? So yeah, Faceless was not just a creative decision per se. It was, I would call it a mental health decision as well. I do really, really admire people that take all of that time and grow their YouTube channels with face, because it's a tremendous amount of work. I'm just not one. Maybe one day, who knows? Maybe one day I will want to connect on a, what do you want to call that, video level. And it's not a definite no, but it's a probably no as of now. And I did realize, if we're honest, that I'm not the only one. There's a whole world of incredible faceless creators out there who make videos that, with just their voice or just text or animation. And some of these content just hits. It's some of the most impactful videos I've seen. My favorite videos to listen to on just every day are really faceless. I like to listen to things while I'm walking and working and, doing house chores and, being with my kids sometimes, coloring and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily want to have to look at something and stay put. I need to be moving around and just having these voices in my ears because it's interesting, So I've noticed that I listen to this type of content, and so somebody else like you probably does as well. I think it's a question, now that I am kind of trying to rephrase it, of making sure that what you're saying matters more than how you look that day, or what is it that you want to show. And I think in a world that is obsessed with image and looks and aesthetics, I could say that that's refreshing, and I hope that is refreshing. And I also liked the freedom that came with it, right? Where I'm free to just record in my pajamas. I can record when my kids are asleep. I can make content without wondering how I look today, how's my background looking. I can keep a little bit of anonymity, yes, because I'm not filming my home and stuff like that, and not having to worry about, hey, do I look tired today? Truth is, I am tired this specific day, but the mic does not judge. I like that the mic does not judge. And honestly, that kind of freedom, it really, really helps me show up more consistently, which, let's face it, it's like half the battle on YouTube anyway, right? And so that's why I decided to start my channel. Another big reason is just wanting to protect my peace. I know a lot of people on the other side of this can relate to that. Social media can be brutal. YouTube can be brutal. The internet has opinions, and loud ones. And I'm always open to feedback about what I say and the ideas that I share, but I didn't want comments to be anything about anything else than the actual message. And so I didn't want somebody to find my wall colors or whatever like emotionally unsettling or anything like that. So when you're faceless, people really just listen to your listen to your ideas first, and they either connect or they don't, but the focus just stays where I want it, which is on the message. And so I know that this approach isn't for everyone, but the people that are open to it need to try it out. Some people are just meant to be on camera. They glow, they shine, they do that influencer thing with the ring. What is it called? Like the right ring light? Is that called a ring light? The ring that is a light? Sparkling in their eyes, and God bless them, that's fine. But me, I just like to speak from the shadows, right? And sorry, that sounded a little bit bad, Minnie. I'm sorry, but you get what I mean, right? I'm here to offer perspective. I'm here to share some truth and ask some questions and to give a voice to the conversations, hopefully, that are happening in other people's hearts, even if they don't always say them out loud. And so if you are like me and you have a message to share, please do so in the comment section on here, or start something on your own. Start with what you have. Use the voice God gave you. And now my phone is ringing, but like I mentioned, you'll see it in some you'll hear it in some audios, and I'll keep it right here. I'll actually keep it to prove that was true. And so use the voice that God gave you, and if that voice just happens to be off camera, that's just fine. And like I mentioned, it can also be in this comment section, right? Some people speak from a stage, some people speak from a screen, and some from, a quiet desk with a mic emission and no makeup. So that is why I started this YouTube channel. I hope you like this YouTube channel. I hope you like the message that I spread, to share truth, to ask questions, to really put out the kind of content that I just needed myself, and to remind people like you that faith really does still matter. And even in a loud, chaotic world, God still speaks. And you just have to be willing to listen. We just have to be willing to listen and encourage other channels that maybe do the same with topics that we're interested in. And so, I wanted to get that out there. If that resonates with you, stick around, subscribe, share this. Maybe next time, bring some coffee, bring some tea. I have a lot more to say, more series to put out. And so stay tuned so we can do this together. I will see you next time.